moving messaging toward the middle. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton seeming to take a stronger stance on border security. She said this at the Munich Security Conference.
There is a legitimate reason to have a debate about things like migration. It went too far, it's been disruptive and destabilizing, and it needs to be fixed in a humane way with secure borders that don't torture and kill people.
Now remember, this is the Hillary Clinton, right, that 10 or 12 years ago was running with that message. That message that if you're here illegally, you're going to get booted, and that we need strong borders. But again, look at the hijacking of the Democrat Party by the progressives since Obama. Since Obama and into Joe Biden, this message that Hillary's running with right now was absolutely the opposite. Because what they wanted to do is they wanted to flood the goal, right? They wanted to flood into those sanctuary cities and then get their votes. And Donald Trump's called their bluff. And I think we have 3 more years of Border Patrol and DHS clearing out the sanctuary cities. So Hillary is actually making what would be a smart pivot. I don't think that this is going to be a pivot that Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer is going to take. But Hillary is showing them the way out of this mess and how to actually get some serious momentum going into midterms and into 28. I don't think, again, that Hakeem or Chuck are going to listen.
And how we're going to have a strong family structure, because it is at the base of civilization.
Let's bring in Guy Benson, host of The Guy Benson Show on Fox Radio. Wanted to get your take on that. She's sometimes been more in the middle in her party when it comes on to immigration. To me, it's not so much that she's changed, but the rest of the party has shifted much to the left, especially the younger
Agreed.
folks.
Totally agree.
Yeah, you look at the Clinton-era Democrats, and they sound like right-wing conservatives on the issue of illegal immigration. Even Barack Obama, when he was running for office and was president, he sounds
started it. That's where
like
you're
someone
wrong,
who'd be
bud.
totally rejected by the left wing of the party today. I'm not sure, Dana, that these are true believers, right? That they actually think that we need to really toughen up the borders and throw in a few adjectives like humane. I think they recognize that they need to say these things and deliver less chaotic results for the electorate for the purpose of winning elections and gaining power. Now, that's a question of motives. It's impossible to know what's happening in her heart. I just didn't see her making comments like this publicly when her party was in charge, when this was spinning out of control.
Right.
Then Trump ran on this, won on this. Suddenly, she's got a message for the world.
I can tell you, Guy, and what you're seeing here is obviously, as I mentioned before, she's had this message. But what you're seeing also is almost a litmus test into the independent voter, because the Democrat Party has essentially lost them. They need to be able to get them back. So what you see in these pre-election messaging points from, this, she doesn't have a chance of running again. So she's just out there placating a message, trying to test it and trying to pull in the independent voters. So she's saying something that would speak well to the independent voters. Again, is this where the Democrat Party is? Absolutely not where they are today. Is this where they want to be? No, not at all. This is what they want to say to be able to recruit and bring in that independent voter for 26 and 28.
President Obama also made a lot of news this week, and let's just pick this one, and that was on dealing with homelessness.
Morally, ethically speaking, it is an atrocity that in a country this wealthy we have people just on the streets. But we should also recognize that the average person, doesn't want to have to navigate around a tent city in the middle of downtown. We're not going to be able to generate support for it if we simply say, you know what, it's not their fault, and so they should be able to do whatever they want. Because
he just said something that's critical. We're not going to be able to generate support for it. What's it? And who are you generating support from? As you can see, and again, here's your question. Name one thing that Barack Obama did to stymie or negate homelessness when he was in charge. Nothing. That's the answer. He didn't do anything. So again, this is placating the independent voter who's quite frankly just tired of stepping over needles, right? Of driving by homeless encampments and having this flagrant policy. And you can see this even in New York City with Mondami, this flagrant policy where homelessness is not being addressed properly at all. But for Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton to be able to champion these messages to reach the independent voter, that's the state that the Democrat Party is in right now, right? What they have right now is that they've flown AOC and Gavin Newsom over to Germany for a big meeting, right? The Munich Conference, and those are their two lead candidates. We can both agree that AOC is terrible. She's your Kamala replacement, and Newsom is terrible. Newsom has done nothing but decimate and put in debt California. So now you have these two champions of the Democrat Party, both Hillary and Barack, trying to take two messages that the Democrat Party just can't fit into their progressive mindset, and they're going to try to run those messages out to the independent voter. It doesn't work because the independent voter just has to ask, what has Barack done? What did he do? What did Hillary do when it came to migration, right? And immigration? Where was she on the microphone when Joe Biden dropped the border and let millions of people in, flooding our country? She was silent because she knew that ultimately that was the Democrat playbook. So Barack and Hillary right now are just out there trying to pop some messages in to the independents. Do not kid yourself. These are two policies that are tightly held by the progressives, and they are not going to give up control of those. Again, think Hakeem Jeffries in the House and Chuck Schumer in the Senate. What are they saying today in front of the microphones? They're saying the opposite of what both of these two are saying. So the Democrat Party is, again, twisted in this message where they need to be able to pivot this message on immigration, on homelessness. That's kind of a softer topic, but it addresses a larger issue that's going on in our major cities. They're trying to twist that right now to the independents, knowing that their ultimate leadership and the ultimate direction and strategy that they want to go has nothing to do with either of these.
That's a losing political strategy.
Do you think that Gavin Newsom would pick up on that?
I think Gavin Newsom will pick up on anything that he wants to in order to win, right? And he will reshape himself. He is this shape-shifting character, even week to week, based on what he thinks people want to hear. And notice the last few words of that little mini lecture from Barack Obama. And I don't totally disagree with what he said, but he said this is a losing electoral proposition. It's about campaigns, winning or losing. I think what the Hillarys, Obamas, and others of the world, they want their party to win elections by doing what, for example, Democrats in Virginia, like Abigail Spanberger, did. Talk a good game from sort of the center left, emphasize affordability, sound very sensible and somewhat moderate, and then win all the power, and then go hard left and implement whatever they want to do.
Yeah,
that's the
been
model.
A mystery.
But I think nationally they feel like, that's what I'm saying. Yes, step one is winning the election. Step two is all the left-wing stuff that they want to do. So if they've got to fool people, bamboozle people in the process to get their votes, so be it.
It reminds me of the Jonah Goldberg book, Liberal Fascism, from maybe like, what was that, 15, 16, 18 years ago, in which he said something like that they're very patient. President Obama also said this about...
So I'm going to jump in here. They're very patient right now because, again, they're getting their messaging tightly wound up here and out to the independents. And Guy's exactly right. Once they get control and power, I mean, look at what happened, right, to all-American Joe Biden, right? When he got into the presidency, he was radicalized, full-blown radicalized. And he was doing everything that the progressive element of his party wanted, to the point where your blue dog Democrats, there was really only a couple left, but think of Joe Manchin, right, in West Virginia. He said, I'm out. I can't take this. Because ultimately, the Democrat Party has left the center-left arguments behind. They're grabbing them now for messaging, but they leave them behind quickly once they get power. So Guy's exactly right. One last thought, and I'm curious what you think on this Gavin Newsom thing. The modern candidates that are running right now, especially a shapeshifter like Gavin Newsom, they have a big problem. Because with X being taken over right by Elon Musk and other independent journalists that you can't shapeshift anymore and fool the American people like you could have back in the Obama times, right? The only reason, let's just be real, why Joe Biden won was because they manipulated numbers and they buried them into the basement and just kept them quiet. But when you really look at the last election that the Democrats won, that was Obama. That was Obama. And what was he doing then? That was really before the big move to independent journalism and the big move to decentralizing social media and publications, where now your mainstream media, cable companies like Fox, like MS Now, like CNN, etc., they're struggling with their ratings because people are just getting their news alternatively, like you're getting here with America First Alerts. So Gavin Newsom's going to have a big issue, and he's a big shapeshifter on the big issues, and he cannot get away from that, what is ultimately manipulation and lies in today's media. So I don't think he's going to be very successful at all in being able to shapeshift, but I'm curious what you think. If you've yet to do so, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you along for the ride. It helps us with the algorithm. And let me know what you think on Gavin Newsom, on Obama, ultimately positioning into the independent voter, and Hillary as well. That's where we are right now in the election cycle, where they take the elders and put microphones in front of them and test their messaging into that center-left voter. We'll see you in the next video.
We won!
Okay, let's go.
We won!